So here's my thoughts on the Mizzou game. I think we expected it to be kind of a walkover. I really think all of us did, and then we saw what happened against Georgia last week, and I think the opinion changed maybe a little bit. I'm going to pass it to you first, Steve. You always give us the unbiased opinion to an extent. I know you obviously have got the little Florida State blood in you, always burning, but you do a great job of separating the two. Sure. So I'll let you take it from here, and we'll go from there.
Look, the one thing I'll say is, Missouri looks like an easy run over. It looks like a team that just can't get over the hump. They're 2-3. They're 0-2 in the conference. However, they played Auburn into overtime. Auburn, okay, that's one thing. But you played Georgia tough. You played Georgia really tough. Gosh, it just feels like, if you look at any statistical representation of their top offensive players, the quarterback, less than 1,000 yards rushing, almost a 50-50 touchdown to interception ratio. Their leading rusher, granted, has 4 touchdowns, but he only has about 280 yards on the ground, and they don't rotate quite as much as I thought they would. And then their wide receiver, that's probably their strongest piece with Lovett out there. And I even did a little bit of background on him for a short thing that you and I are doing with how we're going to rank some of the college players. I like Lovett. I just don't know if they have the talent and the depth. This feels like a game to me where, as long as Florida doesn't go out there and play like they did against Kentucky, they win the game. If they play like they did against Kentucky and they turn the ball over, they play sloppy football in the first half, it could be a game where Missouri is able to just stay in the game later than you want them to. Let's go, baby.
What's up, Loomis? Welcome to become a member, man. Welcome to the. Thank you for earning your wings there, big dog. We do need a duck race. You know what? We might do a duck race at the end of the show for our members. We'll see how it goes.
Look, I like Florida. We'll talk a little bit more about it when we go through the pick'ems. But I just feel like Florida has more athleticism. As long as they don't play football in a position where they're going to put themselves in adverse positions, I think that they win this game, and I think they can win this game and cover the spread, which we'll talk about here in a little bit.
So I think Florida obviously is coming off of a healthy win. And what I mean by that is obviously you expect to beat Eastern Washington University, but everything looks sound. The defense, again, where there had some question marks, which we spoke about, but again, the future looked bright. But the offense looks sound. It looked like it was finding its groove, which we have not found yet. Anthony looks like he's having fun again. They had some scouts at practice just the other day. They commented on how well things are being ran, how things are looking. So I think Anthony, again, is starting to find his comfort zone. The O-line's always been there. The running back room's always been there. The play calling seems to be getting better, not only progressively and just a little bit more of a diverse play calling, but more suitable to Anthony and making him be more flexible and allowing for his ability to show more. It's adjusted. If you go watch the Gator Breakdown film, great YouTube channel, by the way, you will see that it has improved week over week, which again speaks volume to who Coach Billy is and who the team is, adjusting to who the guys are around them. He has a game plan, but he was able to adjust, which is good to see. So that's number one. Number two, the reason why we suck at college pick'ems is because college football is a very emotional sport. You have 18 through 21, sometimes a little bit older if you got guys like trading, that are full of piss and vinegar, just ready to rock and roll, okay? That's why it's so hard to pick, because you don't know what emotion you're going to get. And you think, oh, there's no way it's that much of a difference from college to NFL. It is insane. The growth from 18 to 25, 26 is night and day. Trust me, I've been through there. If I was 18-year-old, I'd be like, you're crazy. But I've gone through it now, and I understand the growth in the mindset of the NFL is more robotic. It is a profession. They're coming in, they have a job to do. They're able to manage their emotions better. College isn't there yet. This isn't a knack. It's just simple, it's the way we're wired, okay? So here's my reason for this spiel here is Mizzou played against Georgia last week and had everything going for them. They should have won that game. The coach came out, who's a great value, Kirby Smart, came out of the halftime, did his little pre-halftime or post-halftime, whatever you want to call it, talk right before he runs out to the field, and the guy is literally cheesing out. You could just see it in his face. You know why I can see it? Because I felt like this before. When you go into something, when you're in something or doing something that you should be doing well at and you're winning, it's busting out of you because you're like, yo, we're winning. We're not supposed to be here. So what happens in that moment is you now start playing prevent, right? You're just trying to maintain it because now you don't want to screw up. You've played a perfect game in your mind thus far by just being yourself. And now what happens is you go out and you don't do that anymore. And that's why you lose the game. Okay. So here's what that's going to do for me. They had all the energy in the world. They got beat. It wasn't like they played a good game and Georgia just kind of fought back. Georgia just kind of moseyed their way into it because Mizzou wasn't biting. They weren't fighting. And that gives me is like that was Mizzou's season right there. If they win that game, I don't know what I would expect coming into this week. But in my opinion, there's two parts to this, obviously. You can argue the other side, which I'll argue in just a minute. I think they're going to be flat-footed. I think they're devastated. It's your wind beneath your wings has been swooped away from you, and Florida is starting to hit a rhythm. I think this can be, if I'm Florida, right, I'm 1-0. Those Tennessee, Kentucky, that was preseason. That doesn't mean shit anymore. It honestly, the Utah game, the USF game, all those games are nothing to me. Nothing. Those are a wash. So I think that the week starts here. I really do. And again, the other argument is, well, they just barely beat Mizzou, so now they think they have this confidence that they can go and beat another team. I don't think that. I think Florida's going to come in, and Florida's going to use, like, they just played really well against Georgia. We beat Mizzou, who just played well against Georgia. It's like, look, we've got a good, sound team here. This team played well against Auburn, played well against Georgia, got railroaded by Kansas State, right? But I think Florida finds themselves this weekend. I really do. I think Florida comes out and dominates like I really think they're going to and can. I think Florida's gonna get scared really quickly here, and I think it's gonna hush all the haters. I'm going all in. The chips are in the center of the table. If you guys can't tell, I'm back on the. Hey, I'm ready to put the damn astronaut suit back on, boys and girls. I'm ready to rock and roll. Piss missiles are ready to get going here. This game, then LSU 7:00 in the swamp. I'm telling you, boys, just chugga 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 chugga. It's coming, okay? It's a humming.
Instead of the astronaut suit, we might need to get you a conductor's hat, and just like and that might be your new item of choice for the cast is the conductor's hat. Get the train back on the tracks, baby. We were only in the station for a minute, right?
Yeah, I think. I mean, we can. I can definitely get a conductor's hat. I agree. I
bet you could. There's like the way that you broke down how Georgia won that game. So. Is similar to the way that you tell me how you have beat golfers on the links. Like you've told me before, and if anybody who doesn't know, Sheldon's a good golfer, right? But he'll have some guys that come out there who are really strong for the first 6, 7, 8, 9 holes, maybe even 12 holes. But Shelton has said before, I know that if I just play my game and I stay consistent for 18 holes, they're going to make a mistake. And if they do, I'm not going to make a mistake, and I'm going to take advantage because they're going to get behind and then they're going to start to press. And from just what you broke down on how Georgia handled the second half of that game, they were in the game, and Kirby Smart knew it. And all he had to do was play Shelton golf. Just don't make the mistakes. Let Missouri play themselves out, and then you're going to win the game because you just play sound, consistent football. And I think that's, if you look at that game, it felt like Missouri had all the momentum in the world. Georgia just stayed the course. No pun intended, maybe pun intended. I don't know. But they came out with the win. They came out with the win, and they played Shelton football, Shelton golf football.
I didn't even think of that. I'm jealous that you thought of that over me. That's actually really well said. That's exactly what it is. Like they stuck to their game, and they knew that Mizzou had not been there before. They knew they wouldn't be able to handle the pressure because Georgia fell flat. I have been in this exact same shoe. So that's part of it, right? That's where experience starts to come into play. And that's why I was like, look, that speaks volumes to me. If I'm a Georgia fan and I made the comment, I was like, I wouldn't be nervous because Georgia knows who they are. They know their identity on the football field, just like I know my identity on the golf course. I know that I'm not the greatest, but I know how to win. And sometimes it's about knowing how to win to win championships. So sure. I think Mizzou, again, they were playing out of their mind on Saturday. I don't think they wind that up back to back. Florida to me it is, and this is not a homer pick. They're the better football team. I still believe we're a better football team than Kentucky. I genuinely do. I'm not. This is not me being bitter about it by any stretch. Tennessee beat us. I'm not saying we're better than Tennessee. I think we did phenomenal against Tennessee. Tennessee is the better football team. Could it change by the end of the year? Sure. But Kentucky is not the better football team. They proved it again this past weekend against Ole Miss. They are not. And I will stick to my guns until the end of the season. And I could look like an idiot, but I'm staying strong. Staying strong.
Yeah, going back to the way that I predict this game is if Florida plays the way that they did against even Tennessee, if they play the way that they did against Utah, the game is over, right? But if they play the way that they did against Kentucky and they continually give Missouri opportunities to stay in the game, then you start to wonder towards the end of the third quarter, do we make another mistake? Do we leave ourselves vulnerable to having to scramble to get back ahead? I don't think it'll be that way, but it really depends on how the ebb and flow of the game goes. And that's every game, right? And so if Florida plays sound football, Florida wins the game. They cover the spread without a doubt.
Florida doesn't have
to. If they play inconsistent and they come out flat-footed, then it's going to be a little bit of a crapshoot.
Florida doesn't have to do anything special, I think is what you're trying to say. I feel like with Kentucky and Tennessee, we've talked about it. They had to come out, set the tone, and make some big plays for them to win the football game. I said that from the beginning. I don't feel the same way about this one.